Your child's braces might take twice as long as they should, and it has nothing to do with their teeth. Most parents in Wellington assume 2.5 years in braces is just how it works. You schedule the consultation, you hear 24 to 30 months, and you accept it because that's what every orthodontist says. But here's what nobody's telling you. That time frame exists because most orthodontists are still using 100-year-old technology. The brackets themselves have changed, and when the foundation is wrong, everything after that is a correction. And corrections take time. After 20 years in practice and over 500 cases using 3D printed braces, I can tell you exactly why traditional treatment takes so long. And more importantly, I can show you how we're finishing cases 6 months faster with fewer appointments, less discomfort, and better results. This isn't about working harder, it's about the technology finally catching up to what you were promised. Every orthodontist will tell you they offer customized treatment. They'll show you a treatment plan, talk about your child's specific needs, and make it sound like everything's tailored to them. And in some ways it is. But here's the part they don't mention. The bracket themselves are standardized. One size fits all. The exact bracket that goes on a front tooth in New York goes on a front tooth here in Wellington. And when the bracket doesn't actually fit your child's tooth properly, you spend the next 6 to 12 months compensating for that bad fit. I open my practice with a very specific philosophy: respect people's time. I hate waiting in doctor's offices. My time is important and so is yours. So when I came across 3D printed brackets, it wasn't about chasing the newest trend. It was about solving the single biggest inefficiency in orthodontics: guessing. And I'm going to walk you through exactly how eliminating that guesswork is saving our patients 6 months of treatment time. The brackets you've been offered were made for the masses. Over the last 50 years, we've been using standardized brackets that have one shape. And we hope that shape fits the anatomy of your child's teeth, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the bracket rocks, sometimes it doesn't sit flush on the tooth. And when that happens, it affects everything. How the tooth moves, how long treatment takes, how many adjustments we need to make. Think about it this way. If you're buying shoes, you don't grab a pair off the shelf and just hope they fit. You try them on, you check the size, you make sure they're comfortable. But in orthodontics, until very recently, we were giving everyone the same shoe and then spending months bending wires and repositioning brackets to compensate for the fact that it didn't fit right to begin with. When a bracket doesn't sit flush on the tooth, you introduce variables from day one. The bracket might tilt, the tooth might not track the way it's supposed to, and 6 months into treatment, we're taking the bracket off, repositioning it, and gluing it back on because the foundation was never right. That's not customization, that's correction, and it costs you time. If the starting point is wrong, every adjustment after that is playing catch up. And when you're playing catch up for 24 months, you're not getting efficient treatment. You're getting trial and error with your child's smile. With 3D printed brackets, we eliminate the guesswork before braces even go on. Here's how we do it differently. We digitally scan your child's teeth, no GUI impressions, everything's digital. Then we set up the entire case on a computer system. We know where the teeth are starting, we know where we want them to end up, and we build a custom bracket with the exact prescription built in. Customized tip and torque and in and out, all the directions we move teeth. The prescription is locked in from day one. This is the difference between flying direct and taking layovers. With traditional braces, you're stopping in Atlanta, then Dallas, then finally landing in California. With 3D printed braces, we're programming a direct flight to the finish line. We're not waiting until month 12 to start detailing your smile. We've already done it. It's built into the bracket. And because the bracket fits the exact morphology and shape of your child's tooth, no rocking, no gaps, it stays bonded better. There's less bond failures, fewer emergency visits for broken brackets, fewer interruptions to your week because something came loose. When we put these braces on, we use what's called indirect bonding system. The brackets come in a custom tray. They transfer from the computer setup directly to your child's teeth. We place the tray, we cure the glue, we pull the tray off, and every single bracket is exactly where it needs to be. No eyeballing, no guessing, zero variability. In our practice, we've started over 500 LightForce cases, and we're seeing a pattern. Patients are finishing almost 6 months quicker than they would have with traditional braces. That's not a small difference. That's not a week here or there. That's half of your child's life back. Let me put that in perspective. 6 months is the difference between finishing before high school starts or walking into freshman year with braces. It's the difference between missing 20 appointments or missing 12. It's the difference between 2 years of orthodontic visits or a year and a half. And for a parent juggling work, extracurricular activities, homework, dinner, and everything else on the calendar, those 5 to 7 fewer trips matter. And it's not because we're cutting corners. It's because we're not wasting time. With traditional braces, the last 6 to 12 months of treatment are usually spent on finishing the work, bending heavy stainless steel wires to get the final detailing right. Those wires are stiff, they're uncomfortable. But with LightForce, we use much lighter nickel titanium wires the whole way through because the bracket does the heavy lifting. The prescription is built in. Faster doesn't mean lower quality, it means more efficient, and efficiency in orthodontics translates directly to fewer appointments, less discomfort, and better results. You're not sacrificing anything, and you're getting more done with less. We're eliminating 5 to 7 appointments you normally have to sit through. We're saving our patients 5 to 7 visits with LightForce braces compared to traditional braces, and I want you to think about what that actually means in real terms. Every appointment is time. It's pulling your child out of school, it's rearranging the afternoon schedule, it's sitting in traffic, it's coordinating with work, and even in our office, it's still time out of your day. And multiply that by 20 to 25 appointments over 2 years, and you're looking at hours and hours of disruption. Traditional braces require constant wire adjustments. Every 6 to 8 weeks, we're bending wires to move teeth into position, and midway through treatment, we're often repositioning brackets because they weren't placed perfectly to begin with. We take the bracket off, we drill the glue off the teeth, we reposition it, glue it back on, put a new wire in. That's a whole appointment. With LightForce braces, we've eliminated it entirely. There's no bracket repositioning because the bracket goes on in the exact right spot from day one. And because we're not bending heavy wires every visit, your child's teeth are less sore. Those thick stainless steel wires we used to use, they hurt. The lighter wires we use with these 3D printed brackets are flexible, they're comfortable, they don't cause the same tenderness. You'll see what your child's smile will look like before we even start. And that's one of the things that parents love most about this process is transparency. You'll get to see what your child's teeth are going to look like before their braces even go on. We can show you the before and after. We can show you how the teeth are going to move. You're not going on faith. You're not hoping the orthodontist gets it right. You're seeing the plan up front and you know exactly what you're investing in. That's a huge shift from traditional braces where you're basically trusting that the orthodontist will figure it out as they go. With LightForce braces, we're already made those decisions on the computer. The brackets are printed with that precision locked in. And because we're digitally planning everything, there are no surprises. We've already accounted for the rotations and the spacing and the bite issues, impacted teeth, whatever your child needs. It's all mapped out. You're not finding out halfway through treatment that we need to do this as a little differently, or we need to add 6 more months of treatment. You know the plan, we stick to the plan, and we deliver the results we showed you. This works for every case, not just easy ones. A lot of parents think 3D printed brackets are only for simple cases, just mild spacing or a slight rotation. That's not true. We've used LightForce on everything. Kids who need extractions, kids with impacted teeth, adults with severe bite issues who are preparing for surgery, severe rotations, deep bites, impacted teeth, surgical cases, severe crowding, overbites, lots of spacing. It works for adults, it works for children, and it works for complex cases just as well as it works for straightforward cases. The reason it scales is because the customization scales. The more complicated the movement, the more valuable it is to actually have a bracket that's programmed for that exact movement from day one. When you're dealing with an impacted canine, you need precise control over every millimeter of movement. You can't afford to guess. And with 3D printed brackets, you're not guessing. And because the brackets fit the tooth so precisely, we see better bone remodeling. There's less risk for root resorption. The forces are distributed more evenly. That's not marketing, that's biomechanics. When the bracket fits the tooth moves more predictably, and when the tooth moves more predictably, we get better results in less time. The bonding process is faster and more accurate. When you come in to get your child's braces on, we can put them on much quicker and much more accurately because we use indirect bonding system. The brackets come in a custom tray that we transfer from the computer setup directly to the teeth. We place the tray in the mouth, we cure the glue, we remove the tray, and every bracket is exactly where the computer said it should be. No variability, no guesswork. With traditional braces, I'm hand placing every single bracket and I'm eyeballing it. I'm using my experience over the last 20 years, my training, my judgment, but there's still variability. If I'm off by a millimeter, that tooth isn't going to end up where it's supposed to. And we won't know that until several months into treatment when we start seeing that tooth isn't tracking right. With LightForce, that variability is eliminated. Your child's braces go on faster, more comfortably, with a level of precision that hand placement simply can't match. And because the brackets are in the right spot from day one, we're not spending the next year correcting placement errors. We're moving forward from the start. If you're a patient in Wellington or the surrounding area and you're tired of hearing 2 years minimum from every orthodontist you talk to, 3D printed brackets eliminate the guesswork by programming the entire treatment plan up front. It's time we had a conversation. We've been using LightForce for years. We've seen the results. We've given hundreds of families back their time. You can schedule a free consultation at schulmanortho.com. We'll scan your child's teeth, show you the digital setup, and walk you exactly through how this works. No pressure, just information, and you'll walk out of here knowing exactly what's possible. So here's what we covered today. Standardized brackets were never designed for your child's teeth. They're mass-produced, one-size-fits-all brackets, and when they don't fit properly, you spend months compensating with adjustments and repositioning brackets. With custom prescriptions, custom fit, and custom results. Our LightForce patients finish 6 months faster on average with 5 to 7 fewer appointments. You see the results before we start. The technology works for every treatment type, not just simple ones. And the bonding process is faster and more accurate because we're not hand placing brackets and hoping they're in the right spot. If you've been sitting on the fence about braces because you're dreading that time commitment, the constant appointments, the uncertainty, this is the solution you've been waiting for. It's not about doing more, it's about doing it right from the start. And when you do it right, you get your time back. Your child gets their confidence back, and you get the results that traditional braces simply can't match.